Joining me today is New Hampshire State Representative Karen Ebel. Karen, you're on the Public Works Committee, and it's more than just roads and bridges, but that's certainly a big piece of it. Talk to me about sort of how we match revenue with the public work needs, how we think about our public work needs in the state, the 10-year plan. What are the issues that the committee's dealing with, how it looks at things, how it thinks about revenue?
Well, basically, the 10-year plan is a very well-developed plan by the time it's passed. It starts with the Executive Council members actually holding hearings around the state to hear what people are concerned about, and they give that input and they work with the governor's proposal, and by the time they call it the GASSET, don't even ask me what the acronym, Governor's Advisory Council on Intermodal Transportation.
Okay.
That's what it is, GASSET hearings.
GASSET hearings.
Yeah, see, that's a new one so anyway, so that's a really...
That you can win that with trivia or trivia night contest.
Actually, it's a really important component of the decision, and a lot of the priorities also that go into the 10-year plan are developed by the regional planning commissions that are all over the state, and it bubbles up. It's really a grassroots driven thing from as far as priorities locally, and then they work with DOT, and I brought parts of the 10-year plan here. This is just the projects, and even though it seems like we're not funding very much, we're funding a lot of things.
So
not enough.
We're funding at least 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah, about 3/4 of an inch. Anyway. So after all that process gets completed, the governor puts together her concept for the 10-year plan, and then it comes to the legislature and we start reviewing it. So
talk to me about the intermodal piece. Is it highways? Is it rail? What
it's actually some airport funding. So it's and also bus lines.
And how important is that for the state's economic future?
Intermodal travel?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what part of the state you're in, how much you think intermodal travel is really significant. We have a very robust bus system, just as far as, maybe getting from Hanover to Boston and things like that. I would say we could use more intermodal and buses in the more rural areas to help people get from spot to spot. But if you're asking me specifically about the rail issue, there have been many studies on the rail issue, and the Capital Corridor study analyzed from Boston to Nashua, Boston to Manchester, Boston to Concord. I think the general consensus is that it's pretty much of a slam dunk that it should go to Nashua. Manchester would be great. Concord at this point is kind of a stretch.
Your constituents in your area,
in my area,
wouldn't affect it. So you're sort of a neutral party on this.
Yeah, I would say that in my district they're somewhat ambivalent. They also are very cautious about how they spend their dollars. But as they are around the state, I would say that not all of them are convinced that rail is it. I was disappointed in the fact with this 10-year plan, the governor had put $4 million in for basically for planning. It wasn't an analysis of whether or not rail was beneficial to the state, because another study had already done that.
And did that study conclude it was or wasn't?
Yes, it concluded that it was. And as I was saying, it sort of depends on how far it goes, how fabulous, yeah. So the $4 million that was in the 10-year plan was federally funded, except that it was actually 80-20, and there was a 20% match on the state side. But it was to understand the permitting process and basically lay the groundwork if a rail system was to move forward.
And that did not get funded, correct?
That did not get funded.
Okay. and I'm cutting you off,
Yes.
thanks so much. And when we return, we're going to continue our conversation focusing on local issues and county issues, so please stay with us.